Thank you. Firstly, I want to say I'm absolutely honoured to be here in Madrid, such a fantastic, amazing city. My first time here, and everything I've seen is wonderful. But I also want to say I am so humbled by the gentleman who is doing the simultaneous translation from Spanish to English. Whoever you are and wherever you are absolutely fantastic. And I just wanted to start by saying that. He got you brilliantly. So thank you very, very much. My presentation today, as Lorena said, is people-focused. I think facilities is a most amazing and fantastic profession. It's an amazing industry. But we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do and the things that we do so well if it weren't for people. We provide a service to people. We are people. And so the tone of my presentation is all about getting the best out of those people through relationship. And in English, we have a phrase which is carrot and stick. In other words, you put the carrot out in front of people and you hit them behind with a stick to get the best out of them. And I'm saying, forget that. It's all about treating people fairly. It's like you said, it's about diversity. It's getting the best out of everybody. So, carrot and stick in the workplace. Does it work? Of course it doesn't work. And this presentation today is about my reflections on relationships, on contracts, the things that I have seen over the years. So it's a personal reflection. A lot of it you will think is potentially common sense. But it's amazing when we're in the workplace how we leave common sense at the door. We come in and we think about contracts. We don't think about, you're my friend, I want to get the best out of you. We think about SLAs, we think about KPIs. And I want to talk to you a little bit about thinking about people. So why is my view important? Lorena kindly mentioned that I'm the chairman of the IWFM. I also spent the first 15 years of my career working in human resources, learning most about what makes people tick. I'm a qualified coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a chairman. All of these things, I think, go some way to making me understand how to get the best out of others. So, how do we define relationships? What is a relationship? I have a definition here. I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to highlight what I think is the most important thing. Which is, I would highlight it, but it's dropped a little bit, is how we talk to and how we behave and deal with each other. That's what a relationship is. It's about mutual respect. It's about mutual trust. So, a contract. What's a contract? A contract to me is a piece of paper. And I'm really sorry to those of you in the audience who are procurement specialists, who are contract specialists, but fundamentally, a contract is a piece of paper. The commercials have been agreed. Your procurement team would have been out in the marketplace. They will have set a price. They will have got a price. They will have negotiated the terms. That contract, that piece of paper, really then needs to go in a drawer. And I'm really sorry if that offends some people, but it's not the terms of the contract, it's how then the relationship gets the best out of that contract. We refer to a contract when things have gone wrong. So the best thing surely is to ensure that they don't go wrong. And if we think about our day-to-day lives, we think about when we're in a restaurant and we get poor service, what do? We tell the waiter, we tell the chef that we've got poor service. But in the workplace, we invariably don't do that. We actually have a list of things, and we think, oh, they've done that wrong today. Oh, the toilet wasn't very clean today. Oh, that was dirty. And we leave it to a meeting and then go, you've done that wrong, you've done that wrong, you've done that wrong, rather than having the conversation on a day-to-day basis, which again is all about relationships. So I see a contractual relationship is no different than a marriage. Not many people actually, unless you are, forgive me, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, you don't enter a marriage thinking, what am I going to get out of it when we get divorced? You actually, I hope, go into that marriage thinking, I want this marriage to last forever. I want it to be the most important relationship I've ever had, and I want it to work. That for me is the single most important thing. If things start to go wrong, the best advice I can give you is to tell your partner, to tell your husband, to tell your wife, whoever it is, I'm not happy. And again, that's relationship. You don't go, oh, we've got a marriage contract here, and I'm going to refer back to that contract. No, you have a conversation. You don't manage the relationship with your husband, your wife, your partner. You have a relationship. And again, it's all about communication and conversation and honesty and openness. So this slide isn't quite what it looks like on my piece of paper, but does anybody know what that means? Pardon? It says yes, 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 in lots of different languages, and there are a few more, as I say, on my screen. And I said this because a relationship is actually about positivity. And that little word, yes, see, is really, really, really important. It doesn't mean you're acquiescing. It doesn't mean that you're kowtowing to the people you're having the relationship with. It means you're being positive. So if you think about a child, and many of you in the audience will have small children, they will come running to you, and they're coming running to you with a picture, a stick drawing that they have drawn of you. And they'll say, Mummy, 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 look at this, isn't it brilliant? And you'll look at it and think, oh, for goodness sake, do I really look like that? But what you will say to the child is, wow, yes, isn't that brilliant? And it's all about that interaction. So what I'm saying is, if somebody that you're in a contractual relationship comes to you and says, actually, I'm going to paint this wall red, I think that would be brilliant. And you think, oh, that is an awful idea. You still say, yeah, but how about we do it purple? Just adding those little words, adding that positivity, makes the other person feel valued. So it's my simple way of saying positivity is fundamental in any relationship. So you start it being positive, not negative. You start to get the best out of people. And those relationships, those initial starting points for relationships are actually quite difficult. If I think about in the UK, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people here who have been to or are based in the UK, actually greeting people is really difficult for us. You come to Spain, it's really easy. You either shake a hand or you give somebody a kiss, and you're really welcoming. In the UK, we don't know whether to shake, to give one kiss, to give two kisses, to give a hug. It's very, very difficult. But what we have to do is smile and greet people positively. We're having a relationship with those people. It saddens me, but I used to manage a massive facilities portfolio. I had to tell my senior managers to smile and say hello to the reception team, to smile and say hello to the security officers. They were so busy going about their day-to-day existence, they forgot to say hello. They forgot to smile. But how important is that to the receptionist? If you go in and smile and say hello and remember that receptionist's name, they will remember you. Because you're having that relationship, you're getting the best out of them by sharing. And it's interesting, I'm no longer employed by an organisation. I'm now a freelance out in the real world. And it saddens me because I now see that a lot of clients are not very good at relationships. They don't respond to me. They don't email me. They don't tell me when a meeting's cancelled until I'm halfway to that meeting. And it's not good. And for those of you in the audience who are on the service provider side, I apologise on behalf of lots of clients. They don't treat you very well. And I think we have a lot to learn. I really do think we have a lot to learn. Pinocchio. We all know what Pinocchio was famous for. I just recommend to all of you, think about honesty. Think about not telling lies. We all have a tendency on a day-to-day basis by saying, yes, I'll get back to you. Yes, I'll phone you. Yes, I'm coming round later. And we don't then do it. And once you start telling those lies, they breed more lies. And people on the other side of the fence start to lose respect for you. You know what it's like when somebody in your team comes in the morning and says, sorry, I'm late. The cat ate my bus ticket. And you think, okay, you actually overslept. People aren't idiots. They know if you are lying to them. And all I say is just be straight. I'm not saying people tell bad lies at all, but just be straight. Again, Be honest and open with everybody. Build trust. Build trust in your relationship. Don't break your promises. So, as I say, if you go back to the child relationship, we all say to a child, they will say, Mummy, when are we going out? And Mummy says, in a moment. The child then comes back and said, you said it was going to be a moment, Mummy, and you're still not ready. It's remembering to set those expectations, remembering if you say it's a moment, it will be a moment. And again, it's just about honesty. Your word is your bond is your reputation. Make sure that if you say to your team, you will do something, you will do it. Otherwise, they will never trust you. They will never believe you. They'll say, Julie always says she'll come back to us, and she never does. So they will stop preparing for Julie. They will stop actually believing in you. Don't wing it. We have a phrase in English, don't wing it. It means make sure you're prepared. So again, it's back to respect. If you're in a meeting with people, prepare for that meeting. I remember a few occasions in my life where I've gone into a meeting, a senior member of staff across the table from me, and I've gone in and said, right, I'm here to talk to you about X, Y, Z. And that senior person said, okay, off you go. And they sit at their table and they're doing this. And one time I just sat there, silence. And for about 5 minutes, I sat there and said nothing. And it was a woman, she looked up and she said, sorry, you can start. And I said, well, I'm not going to start, not unless you give me your attention. Because what I had to say was really, really important. And I'm just saying, in terms of being on the other side of the fence, make sure you give people your attention. And if you're the one making the presentation, prepare for it. Prepare for it in the same way that you'll prepare for a negotiation. You wouldn't go into a negotiation without having your information. So don't go into a contract meeting without having your information. And I remember another occasion where a service provider who was working for me had done an amazing report. And we went into the meeting, and a senior member of my team said, thanks for that. We'll not look at it now. We'll come back to that. And you saw their faces visibly sink. If they have taken the time, whether it be client or service provider, to put the effort into preparing for the meeting, give them the attention. Actually support them and talk to them. Allow everybody to have a voice. This sounds really simple. But again, I know a lot of clients who don't allow the service providers coming to the table to have a voice. And everybody, you as the senior people, need to ensure that everybody has an opportunity to have their say. Everybody has an opportunity to put their ideas on the table. Not everybody finds it easy in a meeting to talk. So if you are the client or you're the senior person, make sure you give everybody the opportunity to have their say. Even if you have to go around the table and say, right, does anybody want anything else? Does anybody else have anything to say? It's not your responsibility to say everything, but it is your responsibility to build an environment where people feel empowered and have that psychological safety net to be able to say everything. Say everything that they think and everything that they feel. Give your attention to people. Again, I remember one occasion in particular, where a relatively junior member of the IT team was coming into a board meeting to make a presentation. Imagine how she felt coming into a board meeting with the most senior people in her business. She comes in, she is visibly shaking because it is so important. She stands up at the screen, she starts talking. And I would say 3, 4 of the people, senior people around that table, got out their iPhones, got out their iPads and started doing their emails. How do we think she felt? And again, it is that respect. It's bearing in mind that these are big occasions for some people. And in a contractual relationship, you will have people who've prepared for months to talk to you. Again, show that you're interested. Show that you actually care. And if I take it back to the earlier slide about a marriage, I remember one light bulb moment for me. Coming home from work one day, and my husband was quite quiet, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "I need to tell you something." And I said, "What?" He said, You come home from work, he says, I know you have a stressful job. You come home and you talk to me about your day. You come home and talk to me about everything. But you forget to ask me how I'm feeling and how my job has been and how my day has been. And I think sometimes as facilities managers, we get so wrapped up in the thousands of things that we're doing on a daily basis, we forget to ask the other party, how are you feeling? Not just how is your day gone, but how are you feeling about everything? And again, just a little bit of word of advice. Make sure you say to the side, and you can start off a formal meeting by just saying, hi, how are you? How are things for you today? Be open-minded. Particularly in a new relationship, be open-minded to people's ideas, to people's suggestions. Particularly somebody coming new to a contract, they will want to show you that they've got the best ideas. They will want to show you that they can make a difference. And normally you will have built innovation into a contract. But we tend to think, oh yeah, we've been there, we've seen it, we've tried it, it's not going to work. Just be open-minded and allow people, if anything, allow people almost to fail, because you're allowing them the license and the latitude to actually deliver something new. And again, it's just something that I would recommend you think about. Communication isn't just in the contract. Communication is ongoing. Communication is in formal meetings, communication is outside formal meetings, communication is day to day. So it's like I said earlier, communicating is talking to the reception team. And I remember again one occasion, the chief executive of Channel 4, where I worked, had resigned, and this was massive news in the business. The minute I was given that information, the first thing I did was go down to the reception team. Not senior team, the reception team, and say, I just want you to know that, it was Mark Thompson at the time, Mark Thompson has resigned. He's doing blah, 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 blah. The reason for that was because that reception team was the team that faced the public. And if anybody came into the building and said, oh, I hear that your chief executive had resigned, how bad would the reception team feel if they didn't know? So communication is from the top to the bottom. It's at times that are appropriate, but it's continuous. It's not just at your contract meeting. It's not just when you have a formal quarterly or annual meeting. It's all the time. And it goes back to that very first point I made, where you need to tell people how you're feeling, what's going on, ask them how they're feeling, and tell them news. Information is power, but it's more powerful if it's shared. If it's held back, then it will cause problems. Manage expectations. I'm going to go back to a personal one, and I apologise, this may sound like a sexist example, it's not meant to be, but I get really, really, really annoyed when I come home on a Friday and find my husband's worked at home all day and he hasn't put the washing machine on. And I come home and I have to do the washing. So my husband says to me, I'm really sorry, I didn't think about doing the washing. Please tell me to do it. So of course I think, why should I have to tell you to do it? And he said, because I don't think about it. So I've learned now to put a reminder in my diary to phone my husband to tell him to do the washing. I come home on a Friday, he's done the washing, but he's folded all my clothes wrong and they're all creased. So I now have to put a reminder in my diary to tell my husband to do the washing and to fold my blouses that way, not that way. And we're starting to get there. And I think my example is just to tell you, we all think about things very, very differently. And if my husband or your contract partner says to you, please remind me or please tell me, that's what they need. And if they're saying that, there is no confusion. And again, it's having those open, honest conversations about my expectations and their expectations. So now I know what to do with the washing, but I also need to ask my husband how his day's been whilst he's done the washing. So they're very important things to think about. It's called being on the same page. Celebrate success. One of the things we forget in contract relationships is to celebrate when things go well. Sometimes we celebrate when we put our contract forward for an award, Fantastic. But let's celebrate the small things on a day-to-day basis. Let's thank the reception team when they've done a good job. Let's thank the catering manager when they've actually delivered a fantastic service. Let's thank the translator. Let's thank the AV people who we wouldn't have a conference if they weren't here. Let's celebrate the successes no matter how small they are. People feel good when you thank them. You know, if you sit down and say, that's a fantastic job, well done, they smile. You can feel them feeling good. So just celebrate the successes no matter how very small they are. So common thread in all of this is integrity. Be honest, be open, communicate, be true to yourself, don't tell lies, manage expectations, have integrity as an individual. Fundamentally, remember that in every single thing you do, you are representing yourself. You are representing your organization. But bigger picture, you're representing the FM profession, the most amazing profession that we belong to. So act with integrity at all times. And my takeaways from today, as I say, are, be honest, be open, be you, be authentic. Don't make a contract a burden. Make a contract a relationship. And if you have a relationship, you can enjoy that. A relationship allows you to be energized. It allows you to bounce ideas off somebody else. It allows you to have a confidant. It allows you to get the best out of people. Celebrate it, enjoy it, and have a relationship. So, no carrot and stick. Eat the carrot, ditch the carrot. Have a relationship with the person you have a contract with. Thank you.